alive. Happy Monday and welcome to your mindful start to the week with Anetta and I, where we come together every Monday to share on a topic that is kind of relevant in both of our lives, but also your life, in all of our lives, actually, because there are just so many topics that a lot of the time we choose to ignore, but we are not here to ignore them anymore. We are here to talk about them, bring in fresh perspective, and yeah, also invite you guys to chat with us and share your contributions with us. Today, our topic is about letting go, which is, I would say, the majority of people struggle with a lot. I personally am fine with it because I just feel for the past decade of my life, that's all I've ever really done to move on to the next thing. But we're also going to kind of tap in today to the power of actually just letting go for your mental and physical well-being and what that can actually just bring to you, open up space in your heart, in your life for newness. And considering mindful moments, my newsletter, our motto this month is stepping out your comfort zone. I think a lot to do with that is releasing the old and embracing the new. And it's always really good to tap into that awareness of, are you releasing your old patterns? Are you releasing your past? Because only when you do can you really move forward with more love, with more ease. And yeah, so that's the topic we're bringing to the table today. Thank you for joining us. And again, if you have any questions or remarks, do get involved, because that's why we like to come live with you guys and just get the conversation going. So Anetta, what do you think about letting go? How is that showing up for you or showing up for you in the past? How does that serve you fully in showing up for yourself?
Looking back on and thinking about this topic, it kind of gets me thinking about how I used to be with my old patterns versus how I am now. Like, for example, when I had an issue with letting things go, like, for example, people, places, and things, even if they don't serve or add value to me, I would still try to hold on to it as tightly as possible. And I can say this because in my last relationship, I tried to hold on to something for so long that wasn't adding any value to me. And instead of letting go when I needed to, I was just making myself miserable. And I knew I was suffering in the relationship, but I was allowing myself to continue suffering in the relationship because I was no longer happy. I wasn't happy where I was living. I wasn't happy with who I was. I wasn't happy with the job that I was in at the time. I just was constantly weighing myself down and driving myself in circles, praying and thinking that things are going to change, but nothing is going to change if nothing changes. And if you want something to change, you have to let go of things. And I understand that leaving a partner or leaving a really good friendship that you've been building over the last couple of years may be scary. It may be scary because of the fear of the unknown. I get it. I hear you. I have been there so many times, but there's nothing more scary than diminishing your potential and being in the same spot the next year than you are as you are right now. So even though it may seem scary, if something feels heavy, if something is not adding value to you, it's okay to let go. I'm a firm believer that you will not miss what is meant for you. And if something is meant for you, then it's going to keep coming around until you allow it in. Or if you let something go and it makes its way back to you at a later time, then it will come back. But don't be so firm on holding on to everything. I remember when I was in the process of 3 months, I went through this for maybe 6, but I'm gonna be nice and say 3. I was going back and forth for 3 months. Do I leave my ex or do I not? We got married when I was 21, and I'm 23 years old, and I'm like, "Do I leave him and file for divorce or do I not?" and I was holding on to this idea of comfortableness, quote unquote, comfortable, because I didn't want to figure it out and what was on the other side. But then I had this other option of letting go and starting fresh. And I remember I went on a vacation for like 3 weeks while we were still married. And those 3 weeks, I let go of everything from him and I never felt more alive. So letting go of the weight or even just taking a break from it will show you what's worth staying and what's not worth staying.
I like that you included that part about the 3 week break because I think sometimes before you make a big decision and you dedicate yourself to a big step, right? It's
Mhm.
so fearsome, like you're fearful, like you're like, oh my gosh, and then what if, and da da da. But it's nice to hear that you just gave yourself those 3 weeks. Were you with friends or family, or were you just alone?
No, I just went by myself. Like initially, like I went to my family, but and stayed at my parents' house, but like I just needed space by myself. So
Ah,
took
that's so powerful.
yeah, and I just took a solo trip and I spent 3 weeks and, like, the second, like, I left that apartment, like, I just felt all the weight fall off, like, I just felt all the weight fall off my shoulders, but then I was like, like, even though this feels good, I get it, like, we're always looking for another sign. Should I let go or should I stay? I get it. I leave this apartment, I leave the person that I was with for a couple weeks, I feel all the weight fall off, and I feel lighter and happier, and I'm still looking for another sign. Is this the right choice? And then I go on my trip and I'm so happy, like I feel alive again, and I'm
Yeah.
still looking for another sign. Should I let go? So if you're in that position or if you've ever been in that position, I hear you. You're not alone. And sometimes we're going to be given the same signs and be given the same tests until we learn that lesson.
And it's just your protective mechanism. You know, you have to think to yourself, like, it's this comfort zone. So it wants to hold you there. It wants to hold you back from living your most beautiful life and your best potential because it's scared, and that's okay. Like, that's fully normal, and it's good to validate it and not just ignore it or, like, attach yourself to it. But it's also okay to then see it, it's an emotion like every other emotion is. And you don't attach yourself to emotions, but you permit them to come and you permit them to go, right? And just because we've been through these, trivial moments in our lives, it doesn't mean that those fears don't come up anymore, right? It just means that we handle them better. So it's just like with that practice. But I really just like that you said that those 3 weeks can just give you perspective about, like, oh, this is what I need to do for me. And I think it's really good to share this because people really struggle with change. And I find it so crazy sometimes because I think to myself, like, change is the only constant we all have in life. Like, sorry, but can we just say that again? Change is the only constant we all have in our lives. So why are
Say it
we fearing
again.
it?
Say it again for the people sitting in the back. Say it for the squirrels over there. Just say it again.
Only constant. So why are you scared? Why are you still scared of change? Like, we are always changing every single day. Every year we're growing and we're getting older. So why are we still fearing it? And I really do question that a lot. Like, why do people fear change so much? Because in a world of today, I mean, come on, guys, we haven't evolved like this as a human race ever. Like, it's incredibly rapid with technology and everything alike. No wonder we're going through a mental crisis worldwide and a loneliness epidemic worldwide, which I'll not stop saying. And when you were just talking, Anetta, it made me think, like, when we were talking about mental health issues, right? Or you're talking about anxiety. Anxiety comes from fear of the future. And depression is not being able to let go of the past, as in simplest terms as I can say. And so if you're in this spiral, of like either fearing the future or not being able to let go of the past, then this spiral just wants you to keep going round and round and round. But what kind of life is that? Like, sometimes you just have to pitch yourself. Like you have to really like initiate tools that will be able to get you out of it. Because if not, you're not living your life for yourself. You're living your life for control of change. Where in essence, we're never in control. And you can just like learn to flow with the life and trust it more. And the more steps you take, like Anetta was just saying, of even just taking yourself out of a situation for a day, it doesn't have to be 3 weeks, just a day on your own to give yourself perspective, to give yourself space and journal and think and reflection without your phone, without anything. I think that is something at the core of our like human race right now that we're just not honoring. Do you know what I mean? Like we're really just like battering our nervous systems. And I feel bad for us because like it's just so much stuff like blah blah like constant. So then I'm like, oh, okay, that's why people fear change, because there is just so much change going on around us, maybe. But yeah, to bring it back to your story, I've definitely been in those occasions too, where I've known something isn't good for me, but I continue because, as you say, like there's that other voice in your head, right? That's like, well, if you've put yourself into this situation, then you have to live through it. Do you know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
don't listen to that voice. There's so many voices that you can listen to and you give power to. And I think the power really is nurturing the voice that is your cheerleader and that will be courageous and encouraging you to do things that will help you and not pull you back. And the more you just like become more aware of how you speak with yourself and adapt to it in a more gracious and compassionate manner, the more your mind will be on your side. So you and Annette are probably finally getting out of that relationship. Of course, I'm sure you were still scared, but you just went through it anyway because you know that you're prioritizing yourself. And I think that's really the biggest thing. When you know that you're prioritizing yourself, which means letting go of what no longer serves you so that you can make space for newness. Like, it's really crazy, no? Like, how we just want to hold on to everything. Like, this weekend, I was at a flea market. I mean, I was on the flea market and I had clothes that I've had for ages, Anetta. And like, someone tried something on and I was like, oh, I really like that. I was like, why am I getting rid of that? I was like, oh. And I said to my friend, and she's just like, it's fine. And she's like, well, yeah, you could have given it to me. I also really like it. But I was like, it's so crazy, like how I still was trying to hold on to it, even though that, like, this, you know, it looked really good on this girl. And that's just materialized.
Yeah.
So it's insane how in our society we really have had that need to hold on to things.
Yeah, and I really want to add on to what you were saying about the past and present and the future because
Yeah,
people get anxiety thinking about the future, and then people get depression thinking about the past.
yeah.
But what about the present moment? All we have is the present moment. The past is already gone, and the future isn't here yet. So, what can you do today to be the better version of yourself 10 minutes from now, 1 hour from now, 24 hours from now? Because I think so many times when we write out goals, we write a long term goal and a short term goal, or whatever you want to achieve. And then you stick it up on the wall and you're like, how am I going to get there? Well, what do I have to do in this present moment? Who do I have to become in this present moment in order to achieve? If you want to write a book and you've always aspired to be a writer and an author, well, instead of thinking about how am I going to write a 300-page book, think about who can I be right now and what kind of person is it going to take to achieve.
You've gone. And you were just on a really good point. Maybe the signal? That's random. Well, I guess we're in at Yay, there you are!
Hi.
You were
I
like
was
in
like,
a good story. I was like
I don't know what happened, but I was like, I'll just keep talking. And then I was like, you're back and I missed you.
So someone who wants to write a book.
Yeah. And it's like, what do you have to do to become that person in order to write that book? That is the biggest thing. It's like, where does that person shop? Where does that person associate? Where does that person do in the morning? Do they go get coffee at Starbucks or do they make coffee at home? What do their habits look like? Do they write one page a day? Do they write um, only on the weekends for a couple hours a day? What do those habits look like? And when it comes to change and adjusting your habits into becoming the person that you want and to achieving the goals that you want, people like change, but people don't like forced change. That's what scares people away from change. Because when you were a little girl or a little boy, how many times have your parents made you wear an outfit that you don't want and it's like completely traumatized you because you're like, no, I don't want to wear that. But if you changed your outfit into something that you want, you like that kind of change. How many times have your parents taken you to get to the hair salon when you were a little kid? You weren't making decisions for yourself yet, and they gave you a haircut that you didn't like that was changed, but it was forced, so you didn't like it. But now when we're older and we need to get a haircut or get our hair colored, we do it because we want to, and that's also change. So n- get present with yourself in this present moment and understand what you want and what kind of person it takes to be to achieve your goals. That's how I view it, at least, is what kind of person do you have to be to get there?
But that's such a good point that you raise, Anetta, because I didn't even think of it like that. Like your characteristics, like who you are, will shape ideally your future and your goals that you want to complete, right? So I like that you say that it is about like now, like you take action now. Like it's so funny. I used to have on my wall when I was like 15, like just do it, like Nike.
Yeah.
But like it was just like one of those things that I always remembered because I was like, there's no better time than now.
Yep.
And I've always lived by that because I don't allow myself to now just like question anymore. How many people go in this rut of thinking of the same thing over and over and over again? Like, isn't that tiresome for you? Like, aren't you fed up of that? Like, take action now, but also notice it is in your power. A lot of the time, these thoughts make you think that you are powerless. It's actually about stepping into your power again, reminding yourself of it because you've already got it. It's not about like finding it or seeking it. It's about reestablishing it and re entering into this force within you, which is light and love and harmonious. And that wants to work for you. I also want to and just add on to what you said. I really like that you brought up the present moment because I just love living in the present moment. And it's so true. Like, if you fear change, like, just come back to now and notice like everything around you, everything that you have, everything, all the people in your life, like all the things that you're grateful for and all the people you're grateful for, allows you to also ground yourself into now. So gratitude, I always like to say, is a great component of mindfulness because it brings you back to settle into the present moment. And the breath, right? I mean, the breath, if you think about it, the only thing that we have control of, but we also don't have control of. And I remember I heard that like years ago and it just stuck with me because I was like, wow, that's actually insane. The only thing as humans that we can control, but we also don't need to control because we're just breathing, right? We're living, breathing human beings. And so at any point, and that's why I love breathing techniques as a yoga teacher, a meditation teacher, like I'm even when I'm getting like angry or like overwhelmed, I'm just like, breathe, Grace. Just one deep breath in and out. And I'm like, okay, I'm good again. Parasympathetic nervous system like activated, nervous system regulated. Like it's just that one breath sometimes that can just switch your mind back to presence rather than pressure. And I think that is the place that you want to make decisions from. And also what I really liked what you said, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Force change. So no one likes to be told what to do, right? Like I think even as kids, of course, like you were saying, but also even as adults, like I just don't feel people like to be told what to do because it's like someone told me the other day, like, their dad is like quite ill, and she's like, I'm trying to make him move again, like movement is medicine. And she's like, but he hates me telling him what to do. He's like, you do it. I know it's like,
Yeah.
it's funny, at every age, every phase of your life, you don't like to be told what to do by your parents, by your friends. I mean, there's a difference being told what to do and advice, right? And I think as a coach, like I don't tell you what to do. I allow you to tell yourself what you need because I kind of touch on all the points that lead you back to your inner wisdom. So I think that is also a key thing that you have to find out what's good for you. And then the change comes automatically through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And some when it comes to, I hate to say this, telling people what to do, but I always say, like, if you need to tell somebody what to do, how can you phrase it into a question? For example, like whenever my parents tell me to do something, I ask them, can you please ask me? Because I don't have an issue with doing what you're telling me to do, but I need you to ask me. Like if it's go throw out the garbage. Can you please throw out the garbage? It's just
Yeah.
rephrasing those little things from what seems like demands because that can also bring up like childhood or how somebody treated you when you were a child. Like, do this, do that, go make your bed. Hey, can you go make your bed? Hey, can you go throw out the
Wow.
garbage? So it's like, how can you rephrase it? Because it also makes you feel more competent when you rephrase it as a question. Why? Because somebody's asking, not telling.
That's such a good reframe. I love that you brought that up because it's giving you the power again. So when
Yes.
you tell someone what to do, you're the one that's in the power, and they don't obviously want to do it because the lack of self-worth, the lack of being seen and heard. But if you ask politely, like, what do you think about this? Or a suggestion, right? Suggestions or questions, you're giving back this person their power to be able to step into making decisions. Because I think a lot of the time these days, the fear of change as well is like the fear of decision making, right? Like, because I think a lot of people struggle with decisions. I was telling you this before about the flea market. Like, I swear we saw the same women come round and round and round looking at the same clothes. And I'm like, why are they not buying it? And I was just like, ah, people really struggle with decisions. Like, people need to be told what to do, but not in like a demanding way, like you just said, but in an inviting manner, right? It's like,
Yeah.
hey. um, yeah, so maybe, I mean, if you're struggling with change, because that's like our topic today, ask yourself, like, am I making daily decisions that are good for me? Are people telling me what to do? And maybe that's what's putting me off changing certain things because they're telling me I should change. Like, yeah, it's about reframing the way that you're reflecting on these certain manners in life, I guess.
Yeah, I'll leave it at this. If your life was a movie right now, what would the audience be screaming at you to do? Think about it that way. You watch a movie and you're like, no, don't do that. Don't treat that person like that. Why are you being so mean to yourself? If your life was a movie right now, what would the audience be telling you to do? because that's probably your subconscious on you. You know what to do. You weren't born yesterday. You know what's right, what's wrong, and what would the audience be telling you to do.
You just reminded me of the Truman Show with Jim Carrey, right?
I don't know what that
You
is.
don't know it? Oh my gosh, it's a film where he's like in a simulation and you just like you see that he's just living his day in and day out being controlled. Like, oh, you have to watch it, Truman Show.
Okay, I will, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed our mindful start to the week, always bringing you good topics to chit chat about and reflect on. If ever you need any guidance, then I'm also here as a well-being coach. I don't want to say coach all the time now. I would rather say like strategist because, we don't tell you what to do. We guide you towards what you know already. Because a lot of the time we don't really know what wisdom we have within, and it's just like someone that wants to point you back to your true essence. And Anetta has a lovely podcast, Nourished Inside Out, always bringing out 2 episodes a week.
Yeah, about 2 to 3 episodes a week, every Monday and Friday, and then sometimes on Wednesdays.
Sweet. So we are both here to help guide you back to your inner wisdom by nourishing yourselves inside out. And we're really happy that you guys joined us today. So thank you so much. We will see you next Monday again and have a lovely week. Embrace
Take care,
change.
guys. Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye.